1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Everyone out there in Banjo Land, Mike Heading here. It's my first lesson of 2021. We made it through 2020, and I had a request if I could do some more up-the-neck solos for classic bluegrass songs. And I'm happy to do it, and I thought we'd start with the classic song, Long Journey Home, or $2 Bill. Super classic bluegrass jam standard that you'll want to know. I've taught a down-the-neck version of a solo in the past, and I thought it'd be good to do an up-the-neck solo of this song. We're going to use a bunch of the classic Scruggs backup and lead shapes for this song, and I'll break those down in detail. We've got two solos I wrote up for this song, and I'll break them down all note for note, show you how to play the left and right hand notes for all the solos, and then I'll show you a bunch of backup I would do for the song. So we're going to keep the backup up the neck, and we're going to go through, again, kind of review those up the neck chord shapes used for Scruggs style backup. And if you're watching the preview of this lesson, you can head over to my website, MikeHeadingMusic.com, and grab the full lesson. You'll get access to watch all the videos, and you can download the tabs and the practice tracks. All right, here's the up-the-neck version of Long Journey Home in the key of G. All right, so let's start breaking down this first up-the-neck solo for Long Journey Home in the key of G. But before we get into the solo, let's break down the chord shapes and positions we're going to use. I think if you use the correct left-hand fingerings on this one, and you understand the chord shapes that we're playing out of, it's going to make this lesson so much easier to digest. So if you don't understand the underlying chord shapes that we're playing out of, it's going to make this lesson more confusing, right? It's going to seem like you're kind of playing up in outer space, no man's land, where if you understand the chord shapes that we're playing out of, okay, we're just playing out of a G, we're just playing out of a C, and we're just doing it up the neck, just like when we learned how to play down the neck. So that's all we're doing for this lesson. Okay, so the first shape we're going to use is this classic, I'm going to call this Scruggs backup position 1, okay? And this is normally called a D-shape G chord, okay? And this is a very common chord. You probably have played it down here on the 4th fret with your 3rd finger and pinky, that's a D. If you move it up to the 9th fret with your 3rd finger and pinky, that's a G. And I'm going to call this Scruggs backup shape, and because this is a chord you'll use a lot of times in backup. And it also works good for lead songs, but we're going to use this, and we'll call this the backup shape, okay? And the other one we're going to do is this same exact chord, but used with different fingers. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our 3rd finger take the place of our pinky on the 9th fret of the 1st string. Our 1st finger is going to go to the 8th fret of the 2nd string, and our 3rd finger is going to kind of hover over this 9th fret on the 3rd string, which frees up my pinky, okay? So it's this exact same shape. I'm just using 2 different fingers to play the top 2 notes, okay? And I'm going to call this Scruggs lead shape 1. So this is Scruggs backup shape 1, and this is Scruggs lead shape 1. It's the same exact chord, so that's really important to recognize. It's a G chord, and we're just using different fingers to play those notes. So why are we using different fingers? In Scruggs backup shape, this allows me to go down this way and down this way to lower notes, right? If I'm here, I can grab all these lower notes because I'm in kind of what I'm calling, again, Scruggs backup shape 1. And if I'm in Scruggs lead shape 1, it's the same chord, but look how much harder it is to kind of go backwards, right? So this Scruggs lead shape works great for going forward or higher notes, right? Now because I have my pinky, I can slide up, I can grab this note here. If you've played songs like Foggy Mountain Special or Cumberland Gap, you might know this shape. But it's super, super important to recognize that this is the same shape. I'm just doing a G chord, and then a G chord with a different finger, okay? And then the third shape we're going to use is this bar shape up here at the 12th fret, except I'm not going to use one finger. I'm going to use my third finger, which I'm going to slide from 9 to 12, and then I'm going to put my second finger down. And then I can walk back down and put my first finger back down. And then I could go back to Scruggs backup shape. So that'd be one thing you could practice, is going from Scruggs backup shape to Scruggs lead shape, and then up to Scruggs bar shape. You could call this Scruggs lead shape 2 if you wanted to. Okay, so that's all we're really doing for this basic shape. Those are the chords we're going to use. We're also going to use a C and a D, but basically the same shapes there. So just remember, you probably already know all these shapes. You just have to connect them into your mind that now we're playing a lead song, maybe not a backup song, okay? So let's start breaking down the first 9 measures. Here we go. Let me play it and then I'll break it down. Do that a few times. And one time really slow. Okay, so we're going to start up here in Scruggs lead shape 1, and that's going to allow us to play these first couple notes. So I've got my first finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd string, and I'm going to play that on the and of beat 1. So this is kind of a classic banjo pickup. So what I would do is count 1, and then you're going to play the 8th fret on and then the 9th fret on the 3rd string with your 2nd finger, and then play that note again. And then move your first finger to the 8th fret of the 3rd string, and then down to the 7th fret. And then you're going to go into Scruggs backup shape 1. So you're right here. That's all we're doing there. It's kind of similar to how you do it down here. You know, that's all we're doing. But probably the more important underlying concept and idea there, it's not that hard of a lick, is again switching from Scruggs lead shape to Scruggs backup shape. And then we're going to switch back. I'm going to keep reinforcing this idea, not to keep repeating it over and over again, but I think it's super, super crucial that you learn this point. This is basically the underlying concept of this whole lesson, is learning to switch from these backup shapes to the lead shapes and being able to do it fluently, okay? So that's all we're doing there, is we're going to walk from the lead shape down into the backup shape. So then your 2nd finger and pinky take over on 8 and 9, and then we're going to do like a forward reverse roll. 7th fret, and then roll forward, and then back to the 8th fret, and then your 3rd finger is going to grab the 9th fret on the 3rd string. So you have, I'm just looping measure 2, so it's 1, 2, and 3, and 4 is how you count it. So let's put those first 2 together. We have, okay, not too hard, one more time. Right here, super important, you're going to use your 3rd finger as your anchor, and then we're going to switch. Your first finger is going to take over on the 8th fret, and we're going to switch into Scruggs lead shape 1. And we're going to do the Foggy Mountain breakdown roll. Index finger on the 2nd string. Your thumb of your right hand comes down, do thumb middle, 2nd string, 1st string. And then roll forward 5, 2, 1, 5. So again, we went from this shape, we basically switched twice. We went from lead shape to backup shape, right back to lead shape. Okay, let's do it again. And then measure 4, a little lick. Let me play it and then I'll break it down. Okay, this is a classic kind of like Cumberland Gap Scruggs lick. We're going to hit, so you roll forward into measure, from measure 3, and then 9th fret on the 1st string, and then roll forward 5, 2, 1, and you're going to reach your pinky up to the 11th fret. I'll do it first without the bend. And then move down to the 10th fret and roll forward again. And then one more 5th string. So you have... So a couple things about that lick. One is the wrist angle is super important, right? You can't be back too much like this. You can't be out too far. And the other thing I'll say is this 11th fret might feel like a big stretch at first. I know it did for me. If the 11th fret feels a little bit too far to stretch, you can just do the 10th fret twice. But a classic move is kind of bending that 11th fret. Basically the same way you would do a 2-4 slide versus a 2-3 slide. That's all. We're just playing with this note. That's what we're doing there. So it's also important to know licks where you'd play them down the neck, how you could play something similar up the neck. So if you're doing like, you know, that's kind of like this. You know, that kind of style lick. So that's all we're doing there. So not too hard. So again, if you want to bend that string up a little bit, you can. And then down to the 8th fret with your index finger of your right hand. And then pinch the outside strings 5 and 1. And then roll forward 5, 2, 1, 5. So let's play 4 and 5 together. We have... You could loop those two. Again, you really have to have this finger down, and you have to get the angle of your pinky correct so you're not muting those other strings. I mean, one thing you could practice is doing just getting that clearance of your pinky and third finger so your pinky's not muting the first string. So let's practice that again. We have... And if you get a little bit of a muted note, it's not the end of the world. Just keep moving, right? And then we're going to play that same lick again in measure 6. And then 8th fret. And then this time roll forward 5, 2, 1. And do that twice. So you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and then right here, you're basically going to slide. You can kind of quick move your hand down, your second finger down to 8, and you're just going to slide forward into your C. So you're basically right here in this shape. If you put your pinky down on the 10th fret, take your third finger off, that's like your C, right? So you have your G here, and then you have your C. And the only thing we're going to do there is slide into it. So we have... So you just kind of quick move your hand down, and it's just a quick 8 to 9 slide. And I'm doing string 3, 2, 1, thumb, index, middle there. And then 5, 2, 1. And then down to the 3rd string, 9th fret. And then open 1st string. And then put your 3rd finger back on the 9th fret of the 1st string and roll forward. And then back down to the 8th fret. And then 9th fret. So kind of that forward reverse roll kind of idea. So let's do 7 in through 9. So we have... And then open 1st string. We're just using that note instead of this note here, which is a little bit harder to grab. You could go down and grab it here on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, but what I'm doing there is just using the open 1st string quick and then putting my hand back down. So that's all we're doing there. So let's play that first part. Here we go.